No, hombre. ¿Ni Jeff?
No.
Hey! I think we're live. Great. What is it? Oh, great Thursday evening, guys. Guys, great Thursday evening. We are both on, I think we're both on Facebook and on YouTube channel and on Facebook. Is that right, Frankie?
Oh, how's it going, guys? Good evening. That is correct. We are bringing you Brownsville Talk segment via Facebook and YouTube. So glad you guys could be here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. How's it going, Carlos?
Carlos, how's it going?
Going good, guys. Doing real good. Just glad to be here. Staying safe, staying alive.
Staying alive, staying safe, staying at home. Guys, it's been an awesome little day out there in the city of Brownsville. Hey, Ryan, how's it going, man? Thanks for stopping by. It's been kind of a calm day. I will say that I was actually going through the whole day going like, man, buenas noches, Rose. Pedro, good evening, Pedro, and my Eggman is on. Hey, bro. And I was going like, there's not a lot to talk about. It's going to be a kind of a chill evening. So I thought, you know what, we'll come on tonight. If there's isn't much news out there, much happening in the city of Brownsville. Hey, well, then we'll just give out the numbers and maybe take in some questions and stuff, and boom. Never a dull day in Brownsville politics, folks. Never a dull day in Brownsville politics, and everything in Brownsville has to do with politics. I think everything in the world has to do with politics. But actually, right before we came on, we were hit with graduation. And we got notification from the district that they're already having talks about virtual graduation. And we're like, where have I heard that before? Like you have the statement out there of the regards to the virtual graduation.
Yes, I do. If you give me 1 second, I can blow it up.
1 second. 1 second.
Like, where have I heard that before?
Volume
out there of graduation.
No, Carlos, is your volume.
Yes, I do. Give me 1 second. I can blow it up.
Let's have it. Volume.
I have it here.
All right. Can you read out for us?
Sure. I can bring it on my screen too.
Carlos, good evening, Carlos B.
Good evening.
And Alma, good evening, Alma.
The Brownsville Independent School District is planning on virtual graduation. Pre-recordings will be on April 30th, 2020, and the following and follow the 2020 graduation rotation with 1 recording per day. And the days are as follows, guys. Brownsville Early College, April 30th. Lopez High School, May the 1st. Porter, May the 4th.
Hey, Bob.
Rivera, the 5th. Cinco de Mayo. Hannah, May the 6th. Veterans, May 7th. And graduation will be closed out with a pace on May the 8th, guys.
May 8th, guys. That is the list that we got. And I want to thank our superintendent for providing that and sending me that list via message today. I greatly appreciate. He's starting to reach out and to communicate. So thank you for sending me that information. And again, guys, it's important for there to be that conversation. Buenas tardes, Jesus. And again, we've heard that before. Haven't we even discussed virtual graduation here once or twice before?
Possibly.
I mean, we've been saying it for months. Haven't we been saying it for months already, guys? Guys, it's getting to the point where, you know what? And someone put it out there, Erasmo for superintendent. Yeah, just give me the damn job, guys. Because, we were out there talking about all this stuff 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh.
Frankie?
Yes. Again, Harlingen CISD was the first school district in the area to hold or make the announcement that they will be having a virtual graduation. Shortly thereafter, 2 days after the school district has finally conceded, it seems. And the real big thing that I want to stress at Osmo is that our lives will not be the same. We were so used to going to concerts, going to large gatherings, going to graduations, but now we're beginning to see a change of the tide. So BISD has taken it upon themselves to have a virtual graduation for the class of 2020.
Well, I'm going to say something that, again, I appreciate that they're, starting to, think of going a little bit proactive. It's very unfortunate that other districts out in the area had already been talking about virtual graduation like weeks already. And again, goes back to my point, guys. Good evening, Christy. Goes back to my point. It seems that we as a district are 2, 3, even 4 weeks behind other districts. I mean, it's not. And again, people are saying, "Oh, that's you just want a dog against the district." No, it seems that there's like one misstep after another misstep after another misstep. Guys, we are the largest district south of San Antonio with the largest budget by far. We have a budget of $600 million here in BISD. And todavía with all the resources, hey, Al, with all the resources in the world, we can set up a team that's going to be working a little bit more proactively in order to start, moving forward and being prepared for the things that are going to come. Now, I mean, there's a lot of talk out there in regards to, hey, it seems like everything's calming down. And again, I think a lot of people have that mentality because they start to think that, oh yeah, everything seems to, people want to start opening up stuff again. But that's just not the case. With the 16 overall pick, I'm not talking about football. That's another channel, but thanks for that update. Frankie, where are we? And before we go to Frankie, let me tell you, we are very fortunate. I can't get my cat in check. Guys, we're very fortunate that we live in this time. We live in this time where we have the utmost technology that we could do all this stuff. Can you imagine back in the heyday, back in our times when we were doing the pail, what was it? The pail, garbage pail kids, back in the 80s, man, we would have never even thought of doing anything with technology. Hey, diggity dart. But what I'm trying to say is, we can maintain a small level of sanity now because we're so advanced technology that we could watch Netflix, be on our phone all day, converse with people halfway around the world, stuff that never had anyone ever imagined, Frankie.
Yeah, that is correct. We are living in the technological world. And maybe this is a shift of what's to come, guys. We do anticipate, in my opinion, I do anticipate universities and even some school districts aren't going to be returning to brick and mortar schools in August. We have seen how the idea is now working remotely, studying remotely, distance learning, so to speak. And this is something that we have to get used to. This is our new reality. But we should embrace it. We talk about how we always want the best for our children, and nowadays it's a technological world. So as life, we have to adjust, we have to evolve. We can't stay stagnant. So that's just life. We roll with the punches.
Hasta luego. Sorry. Carlos, what do you think about the new technology that is out there for us?
Well, I have to agree with Frankie. I mean, even the top universities are all going distance learning. I mean, that's just going to be the easiest thing to do. Not only that, it also helps out with just something that like what we're going through now is, keep everybody as safe as possible. Because not only remember, what do a lot of the universities make these students go do? They get vaccines before they even come onto the campus to even be part of the organization. And then Frankie has it right. The old brick and mortar kind of deal is probably going to be one of the taking a back beat to this distance learning now. A lot of universities are doing everything distance learning. There's a lot of people who can educate themselves, especially these new kids. That's all they do is technology. But at the same time, us adults, just like a BISD, are falling behind. You know, the IT department, again, I keep going back. They have 4 individuals taking care of over 40-some thousand students and 12,000 employees. They really need to get, step it up. They need to get these things going, and they need to do it today, not tomorrow, not the day after, not after May 4th or 5th. They need to think of how they're going to be able to do it from today on forward. Some of these kids are probably getting a better education if they're at home. Instead of homeschooling, they do a distance learning in the school district.
It's crazy, but and again, going back into preparing our students. I mean, we live in a technological world. Students should be ready and prepared in order to start learning remotely. As is. I mean, it's just the way of the future. And quieras o no, we don't know how long this pandemic is going to last, and that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about in regards to have we peaked? Have we reached that area where everything's starting to calm down in a sense in regards to the individuals that are testing positive and the individuals are passing away? And I would say absolutely positively not. And more than anything, because we did get the numbers, and it might be going out a little bit out of whack, but the numbers show that people are still dying, folks. People are still dying. People are still coming out positive, and we have to take into consideration that the numbers aren't indicative of all the people out there that are actually infected with the virus. It took technology to get a real kick in the butt by Mother Nature to be called essential. So true. There are a lot of teachers that need to learn these new virtual ropes, and Ryan is correct. And and unfortunately, unfortunately for the older teachers out there, this is something that's completely totally new, and it's something that a lot of individuals just can't get accustomed to. But again, it's the way of the 21st century. We've got to adapt. I don't see. I'm glad that they're talking about moving this forward in regards to the virtual graduation, and I'm glad that they're starting. And this is what happens when they start actually doing that. They start taking out of the mind the idea or the concept for the students that there's not going to be a graduation. But that goes back to what we've been saying for weeks already. Because they were still telling students and parents, no, we're going to have a graduation. We're going to have a graduation. And really, some people were upset with me. People were like, Erasmo, you don't want them to have a graduation, You don't want them to have a graduation. I go like, wait a minute. Of course I want them to have a graduation. It's not a matter if I want them or don't want them to have a graduation. I want kids to have a graduation. Is it going to be feasible or possible? And I think that right now, the concept, they're coming into the realization that it's probably not going to be possible. That is why they're now planning to go into the virtual realm. Does that make sense, Frankie?
Yeah, and speaking in regards to the teachers, I do want to emphasize that this is going to take some time. This is going to take some conferencing, something to get used to. It's not something that you get thrown in from one day to the next and you expect results in regards to the distant learning. So that is going to be a hurdle in which we all have to go through. We have to work through the kinks sometimes in order to perfect the process. And in regards to the graduation, I think now it gives parents more more certainty. Again, this is something that is always looked forward to as a family event to celebrate the person's graduation. But now that the district has decided to taken the right choice of having and celebrating the class of 2020 virtually is a sign of relief for everybody involved. Again, it's not that we didn't stress or know the importance of graduation. Of course not. We want everybody to have those memories and look back on and say, hey, this is what I did. But again, the class of 2020 is very unique, guys. We're going to talk about this, 20, 30 years from now and say, hey, you guys were the class of 2020. It's something that we need to embrace. It's something that we need to think positively. But again, we salute BISD for taking this stance and allowing the parents and the community to celebrate graduation virtually.
Well, Felicia says, I still need a glimpse of hope for graduation. And again, I'm going to say this again, Felicia. I hear you. I pray that that's the case. No, everybody wants the students to have that that experience, go through it, have those little memories and keepsakes and stuff like that. But again, unfortunately, the reality of the time that we live in, I mean, it's not going to be possible. More than likely, COVID-19 that is made in the lab was stolen. Every senior's prom, graduation, and end of year festivities. Virtual graduation is BS. Felicia, again, I completely agree with you. But again, something that Frankie said is very important. You will remember this day for years, and say, I was the class of 2020, the class that didn't get to go to prom, the class that didn't get to graduate. And you know what? If you decide to later on have kids and they're going out to graduation, you could go tell them like our parents told us, like, debes de estar bien agradecido porque cuando yo me iba a graduar, el Rona no me dejó el prom. I'm just joking, Felicia. Carlos, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. But you know what, Erasmo, you were there as well as a board member. What about using the scoreboard? Virtual graduation. There has to be someone there at the school district with some, inkling of how to be able to get some things accomplished. I mean, the scoreboard was a big issue, but now there's a lot of people that love it. It's huge. Why don't they use it? Some type of a virtual graduation, using the scoreboard, showing these kids that are not going to be able to walk, but somehow or another, maybe. I mean, there has to be someone intelligent enough to be able to put something together on a huge scoreboard and display it to everybody, whether it be through the internet, whether it be through Facebook or something. I don't know. There's just so many ideas out there, but that could be a good thing to use a scoreboard for, and give some of these kids at least that, taste of some type of a graduation until that maybe this gets over and done with, and maybe have an actual graduation, your typical graduation where you walk down and your parents see you or grandparents see you. I can understand that some of these people, that's a huge stepping stone, especially if it's, the first generation graduating from school and then maybe even going into college. So there's things that we can do, but too many people are emphasizing on getting teachers back to the damn building, the brick and mortar building. Let's shove them back in there somehow or another. We'll do it. Like they say, they like to use this voluntary kind of BS talk. Once you put someone in the building, guess what? You've broken it. Now they're gonna want everybody else to be in there. And this voluntary, I'm not gonna force anybody to do it. BS. They've been able to flip their hat overnight and change the rules on every individual who works for BISD and even the kids. So who's to say that they're not gonna be able to tell them tomorrow, well, it's not voluntary anymore. We just can't do it. Our hands are tied. We really need you inside the building now. And guess what?
You're screwed.
No choice anymore.
You're talking about flip-flopping Philip? Flip-flopping Philip! I love you, Philip. Stop hating on Erasmo, Philip. I love you. Well, let me tell you something that Paul mentions. The next charters to appear will be a 12K online school. Let me tell you, folks, and as much as people might be out there, the district and, charters are horrible and hating on charters, let me tell you, I've been following. I do my best to follow everyone out there. I've been following charters, guys. Charters have been getting it right ever since the Rona started to hit in our area. And
you don't have the superintendent we do.
Yeah, and they have been getting it right. They've been making all the right moves. I mean, they were the first to say, you know what, it's not going to happen. We're going to end it all. They were the first to say no kids in the car to get the food. They started to say, you know what, guys, let's ease off on the teachers and let's start to prepare for next year. Y nosotros, we're not even close to preparing for next year. I mean, we are so far behind that we are just now trying to figure out what we're going to do with graduation. And look, it's very sad because the first comment that they made was that they were going to give out 2 tickets and make sure and count how many people would fit at Sam Stadium if they sat 6 feet apart. Guys, that is not a graduation. It's not a graduation. It is going to be, it would have been a cluster, a mess. Well, why can't it be mandatory for everyone that wants to attend the graduation, wear masks, gloves? 2020 wants to have a graduation or minimize the graduate invites. Well, that's what we were talking about, Alexa. It's not feasible, Alexa, and it's not feasible because we here in our area have yet to reach our peak, and without reaching our peak, we're not going to know where we're at in regards to everything. We're just not going to know. Frankie, Carlos.
Well, look, Erasmo, let's look at the facts. The superintendent that we have, how many times have you seen him give a statement?
Nada.
That hasn't been prepared by someone else. So that's come out and has found the solution, or even tried to present a solution to this graduation problem. You know, has he come out and said anything? Absolutely not. As he gives out canned reports. He gives out canned emails that are maybe done by their deputy chief or someone else that's smarter than he is. You know, this guy has failed the school district. He's failed every individual, employee, school, parent, grandparent. Look at what's happening with graduation. There has been nothing from this man to tell someone or their family members how to even move forward in having some type of a graduation. He has done nothing.
Nothing.
He's unable to write anything because I don't know if he's just not that smart, or maybe he's a loss for words. I have no idea. He's not a loss for a paycheck, that's for sure. A very hefty one too. And he's failed to be able to get the district where it needs to be, or even moving in the right direction. Your ideas, your Los Fresnos, your Harlingen, they're moving on this slow moving train, moving forward, but they're moving forward. We're trying to push this thing to maybe just putting the coals in the fire right now at this point. Who knows? I said he has failed the school district. He has failed every person in Brownsville ISD and the surrounding areas. It's just has done nothing.
He has done absolutely nothing, and he has failed the district. And by failing the district, he has actually failed the community of Brownsville as a whole. You know, we have absolutely positively no leadership at BISD. And let me tell you guys, if you were to put the budget of every other entity here in Brownsville together, which includes the city of Brownsville, the port, TSC, and even Cameron County, you put all those budgets together, it does not equal the budget of the Brownsville Independent School District. So they have the resources to be better prepared. They have the resources to have these individuals out there. We have done nothing. I asked people who are wanting information about anything about BISD to go to the BISD webpage for your news. There are a few who are spreading a great deal of misinformation about a slew of things in this difficult time. I think it's cruel to misinform our children, their parents, and our teachers and other staff. In some cases, such lies will put staff, teachers, parents, or our children at risk. I politely ask those doing this to please stop, if no other reason that it is not right. Well, let me tell you, that's going back into what we were going to talk about in regards to the voluntary coming onto the campuses. Guys, anyone out there who believes that voluntary for the district means voluntary as you consider it is a dumbass. Guys, it is absolutely not. They are going to have individuals, they're going to request individuals volunteer and call it volunteer. But if you opt not to go, then they're going to say, oh, so you don't want to go above and beyond. You don't want to go out there and help your students. And what they're going to wind up doing is they're going to wind up screwing over as the individuals who are concerned about their health and the concern about their family's health. Frankie?
Yeah, that is correct. It hasn't shown up yet. You know, we've always been waiting for the past 3 or 4 weeks to see some sort of good come out of this. But every decision that has been made so far has been questioned, has left us with more questions than answers. There is that issue of FMLA in regards to teachers coming back. Do they even feel safe, Erasmo? But the main thing is retaliation. They do. It's like a clause. They do use that magical word, voluntary. But we all know in this type of profession, people try to climb up that totem pole, and you only climb up that totem pole by, kissing butt, and that's one way of doing it. Unfortunately, there's that issue also that teachers lose seniority if they get replaced or moved to a different school. So right now, teachers are scared, are worried because of the uncertainty. Hey, what if I say that I don't want to go? I prefer to be with my children. Who's going to take care of my kids? And that's something that the district hasn't been addressing, in my opinion. So it's unfortunate. Again, I always had the city of Brownsville. I've always had BISD on that hill. Other cities and other school districts look up to the district, look up to the city, and it's unfortunate that we haven't been shining as bright as we should have.
Carlos, what about?
Frankie, I'm touching on that FMLA deal. What's happening is that a lot. I don't know what it means, but it's Family Medical Leave Act, and they can use that up to 12 weeks, right?
Yes.
What happens is that you're forced to either use your local days, right? And then they have this other bank that they use. That there's only so many days that they can use to, whether they call in sick or they have to take a personal day, whatever it is. So now they're going to force these teachers, if they don't want to return to the buildings because they're scared or for every other reason that everybody else shouldn't, they're going to force them to take their days. So if someone has 10 days, let's just say 10, some people might have more or less, I don't know, and they use them because they don't want to return. Or they go on FMLA, they still take out of that same bank. It's not like the school district is just going to pay them because they take FMLA. There has to be somewhere where they're using these days to continue to get a paycheck. Well, once those days are over, whether they're on FMLA or not, their pay stops. And once that stops, guess what? But let's just take it a little further. What if they do come back? They've used all their days. They don't have any more. They either force, or in this case, now we're in the summer, and then they do get sick coming next year, and they have no more days. Guess what? They start at zero. So they eventually are not going to get paid a dime because they were forced to use those days because they are now being forced by the superintendent to go back to the school. So it creates this big old mess, for these teachers. So they need to understand that they need to wake up and they need to call either union representatives, whoever they may be, and start calling these board members and the superintendent, tell them exactly how they feel. I'm sure that we've been doing it on a daily basis here. We've been trying to be the voice of these people, but it has to stop. They are making themselves walk to a cliff, and then they're going to force them to jump.
Well, the issue is that, again, they say it in a way, and Peter set it up here in regards to, so if teachers don't volunteer, they will be known as if they don't care for the students. Yeah, 100%. And again, it's not, their evaluation is not going to count this year, but they'll hold it against them for next year. Oh, and again, guys, teachers, be very, very careful, teachers. Be very, very careful, teachers, and listen to what I'm going to say.
There's one that just commented. We were talking about. I don't even mean to interrupt.
Go.
But it says, TA, your governor passed a rule that allows teachers to take leave and not to have to use personal sick days to take care of their children. That's if you are diagnosed with COVID-19. But if you get sick for regular flu or the stomach virus, which is called diarrhea, guess what? You will not be covered because that is not part of that governor or that state statute or that federal statute. If you directly get the COVID-19, then yeah, you qualify for those days and they cannot, stop paying you. But if you get any other sickness and you've already used those days prior to you getting sick,
you're screwed.
You do that from zero.
It does. And again, going back into what I was going to say, guys, teachers need to be very, very, very cautious, and they need to listen. Very, very cautious. Guys, we as a district, we are going to lose easily going to lose 2,000 students. 2,000 students. So what's going to happen? Are we going to have, hey, Massive, are we going to have the need for the 3,400 teachers that we have now? Are we going to have that need if we lose 2,000 to 3,000 students? The answer is no. Now, let me tell you something about the district. They are not going to start cutting jobs at the top. With the leadership that we have now and with the board members that are in place right now, they will not cut from the top. They will want to cut from the bottom.
Yes.
They're going to start giving out pink slips. The teachers are volun-told, and there is a harassment and retaliation. And yes, some principals are great, but others not so much. We will be called uncaring if we don't go in. 100%. That's exactly what's going to happen. No, you don't want to come in, guys.
Yeah.
And then
you're a team player anymore. You're not a team player.
You're not a team player. And then you're placed in a pool. And then you know what? Pues, a ver dónde vas. And then you're going to be sent to other schools. And then you're going to lose your seniority because there's no more first gen, first. There's nothing. And you're going to be at the back of the line again. At the back of the line. Erasmo, can you use your platform to demand a real community town hall meeting with the superintendent and the board? We need to ask them real questions. Unfortunately, Chris, they refuse to answer any questions. They refuse. Again, I challenge anyone on the board, anyone in higher administration. I challenge them to come on and defute and tell us that we're saying something incorrect. I challenge them.
This is a hoax.
Yeah, like Minerva. This is just a hoax. I challenge any of them to come and show.
And also, while you're at this, you might want to put out there that the teachers and the employees are demanding that the superintendent comes out and puts it in writing what will exactly happen if the teachers refuse to go to a school that they feel that they might be able to attribute this COVID-19 and expose themselves and their children and their families to it. He has not been able to put that in writing.
And he won't.
It's only been smoke and mirrors and then the teachers, and this is the reason that everybody's doesn't know where they're going. They follow this guy or they follow this person or they do this or they don't do this because the superintendent has failed again to be direct, say this is exactly what is going to happen. None of this BS that says soft opening, voluntary. But even in there's hogwash and there's smoke and mirrors in his little statement, and people don't actually know for a fact that if they do this, this will happen. If they don't do this, this will happen. That's what they need. They need concrete, a concrete statement from the superintendent, but maybe he's not smart enough to write it himself. He needs to get his deputy chiefs to do it for him. Maybe we can get students who are very smart to write something for this man so he can go out there and protect his employees in the school district.
Again, and I'm still waiting, guys. And, to the people that are watching now, the people that have been watching for a month and a half now, I'm still waiting for a statement. I mean, not one single board member has given a statement in regards to COVID-19, in regards to the actions that they've taken. Not one single board member. I mean, first of all, they haven't made a statement in regards to Sylvia Atkinson stealing our students' money. Nothing. But let's put that on hold. Let's talk about what we're doing out right now. Not a single statement. Can anyone say that they've been out there informing the community of what's been going on, to keep them abreast? Superintendent's not doing it. His deputies aren't doing it. They're contradicting each other. So again, where is the voice inside the district? Again, I challenge any of them. Flip-flopping Philip. I mean, come on. I mean, we know that y'all are watching. Flip-flopping Philip, little Eddie, stupid Minerva, Tracy, Drew with a little Hitler mustache. Anybody out there, come on over, Anyone, come on over. Laura, come on over. Because again, Laura was out there. Come on over. There's nothing on the website about virtual graduation, and there's not going to be yet. because again, Joe, the teachers are always the last to know. Two deputy superintendents, all these area superintendents, for what? They will never agree with Erasmo. Too proud to do that. Again, guys, I challenge them. Come on, come on over and be a part. Brownsville Talk. Answer the right questions. Carlos, board approved and the overtime until May 31st. Can superintendent change that?
Of course, overnight. He can do it right now. And I think that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna pull it. Remember, they're trying to figure out somehow in God's way to be able to get more money back to the school district, because they are losing their ass, with all these kids being out of school. So they have to force teachers. And remember what I said, they're forcing teachers and administrators to be able to put the data into the system to show the state that they are doing distance learning. Again, the IT department has 4 people. They are so far behind that they're stressing the counselors, the teachers, the administrators, to get as much information down so they're able to push it into FEMA so they can recover 75% of the cost. And that's the only reason that they only went after teachers, because they failed to properly go at and file the proper paperwork to FEMA so they can include every other individual, just like every other school district did. The only school district that's behind the 8 ball is Brownsville Independent School District, because the administrator again failed to put their deputy chiefs, or whatever they're called, I use deputy chiefs, but whatever they are, deputy superintendents, to do the work. So now they're trying to fall back and give the teachers $100, keep them quiet, so there's no, lynching going on. And so this is what's happening. We're so far behind the 8 ball that they don't know what to do anymore to get the school district forward. It's the Titanic. This sucker is sinking.
Sinking!
And the person in charge of this is the superintendent, Rene Gutierrez, who comes from Edinburgh, who only sleeps in Brownsville in an apartment he rents, and he goes back every night back over to Edinburgh. He doesn't give a crap about BISD, the employees, or the kids. Simple as that. Can't get any more simpler than that. I'm not sure.
Jesus Becky, for Carlos, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act provides that an employee caring for a son or daughter whose school or place of care is closed, or whose child care provider is unavailable due to COVID-19 precautions, can be eligible for 2 weeks of paid sick leave, followed by 10 weeks of unpaid job protection leave, thereby covering 12 weeks otherwise applicable under FMLA.
Becky is correct. Remember what I just said earlier. Families First Coronavirus Response Act for COVID-19 cases only. If you get the stomach flu, diarrhea, the flu, migraine headaches, whatever, anything else other than COVID-19, you're not covered.
Nothing.
That's what I was trying to tell you. So they're forcing people to use their sick leave. They're forcing their people to use their days that they have in the bank for emergency purposes, so they can use them for the right reasons. But now they're going to force them because I want you back inside the school, and if you don't want to, you're going to use your sick leave and your personal days. And when you go to 0, and you don't get the coronavirus later, you get the flu, and you got to be out because you're having a fever. Guess what? You're not going to be covered. You're going to get paid squat 0.
And again, guys, and we'll go into Gina's topic in a little bit. Again, guys, what Carlos is saying is very important, because a lot of people may say, bueno, como quiera es FMLA. Take into account, you could take those days now. What's going to happen later on in the year if you really are going to need them for something other? You will not have them. You will be screwed, and only because they wanted to force you to voluntarily come onto campus. It's a mess.
Exactly.
Now, he already changed the date after April 30th. No more time and a half. Gina and Hugo are correct. No more time and a half for anyone out there, I think, other than FNS, Food Nutritional Services. That is what my understanding. Food and Nutritional Services will still collect time and a half after April, but anybody else going out there to campuses, don't look at your paycheck for any other relief, and that's including janitors, custodians, anybody out there that's working on the campuses. And again, it's hazard pay for a reason. because they're putting themselves in hazardous situations because they're going out and about and going basically against the shelter at home order that we still have upon us. It's an issue. Now, in regards to the shelter in play order, I mean, we still have again. Have we reached our peak, Frankie?
No, we haven't. And the rate that we're going, we have yet to see the deaths, the number of positive, take a dip. Just today we just got more positive. We got 11 more positives and 2 more deaths. That brings us up, quite a bit in the Rio Grande Valley. This is something that we're going to be dealing with for quite a while. Again, the idea has always been, again, starting from the president to the governor and to the superintendent, they've always wanted to maintain May 4th. May 4th, that's been a date that they've been trying to meet, a date that's been trying to, a goal that they've been trying to meet, of being May 4th, opening up the economy and opening up the school district. We are going to be in this ride for quite a while. We've spoken with medical experts on this segment, and they have told us that May, June is a probability. So no, Erasmo, as of right now, it doesn't seem like the numbers are slowing down. The deaths are still occurring at an alarming rate. So we have yet to hit our peak.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. I mean, we talked about it that this week we were going to start seeing the deaths coming in. And again, I mean, as unfortunate as it may sound, again, we were right. And still, with the numbers that are coming in, and still with the information that we're receiving in regards to us peaking till maybe late June, June, maybe early July, guys, it's an issue, guys. It is an issue. There is no way that we as a community can start opening back up to the extent that a lot of people have in mind. Now, with that said, I'm going to address a lot of the concerns in regards to fishing. Guys, I want fishing to open up. I think that people are responsible enough, hopefully. I mean, every time I've passed going to South Padre Island, when I pass the boat ramp, I usually nomás veo un vato loco allá pescando solo, and usually with nobody around, and every so often you'll see 2 or 3 people and not even close by. So my take is, let them fish. The governors already gave the mandate. Let people fish. Let them have a semblance of what their previous life was before. Now, if people want to say, no, we have to be strict. We have to be strict and no fish. Well, then why are we letting the kids drive around town in the car with parents to go pick up a sandwich? Why? Why are we letting golfers go out to the golf courses and go golf? O todos rabones o todos coludos. We need something that's equitable. I was talking to a guy today, and the guy said, and actually it was a guy that I was a customs agent, because I went to Matamoros today. I was talking to a customs agent, and the custom agent says, he goes, I don't get it. And I said, this is my take. Golfing is the sport of the rich, and fishing is the sport of the poor, of everyone. And he laughs. He goes, that's exactly what it is. It's some of those things that make sense, that will bring a little bit of peace to people's mind. And again, if you want to say no fishing, that's fine. Pero, hey, man, keep it parejo. Then stop having kids driving around town to pick up a sandwich. Frankie? Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it really is. I mean, but you see, you keep on burdening the employees that are working the hardest. These FNS employees have not gotten a day off. They've been busting their butt to go over there. They're under so much stress to make sure that they get as many meals as possible out there with the limited amount of time that they give them, the limited amount of days that they do. These individuals have families at home as well that need to be there. They're risking themselves every day in and out. And I understand some of these people want to go to work because, just like teachers, And just like everybody else, I want to go back to work. But at this moment in time, because of the conditions we're in and the emergencies, declarations that the governor and the president and everybody has put out and the experts, why do you keep putting them out? You keep putting them out in harm's way.
It makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, guys, I would understand if 2 or 3 days we have 0 cases come in. 2 or 3 days we got 0 cases come in. No one's passed away. I would understand. Hey guys, let's start easing off on the restrictions. Now, one of the arguments that people make, and this is what's very, very important. One of the arguments that people make, and I tell you because the superintendent made this argument with me in regards to, well, we're just abiding by TEA recommendations. Guys, again, we cannot start to think that the recommendations placed out there by the governor and by TEA necessarily apply to us as a district, as us as a community here in Brownsville. We can't, because those recommendations, while they may serve a smaller town where they've had no cases of COVID-19, they do not serve our town that has an infestation, an explosion of COVID-19. It's rampant everywhere. And if you think 500-600 tests is enough to give us a clear number as to who is infected in our community, then you are ignoring the number of individuals that live here in Cameron County in the city of Brownsville, Frankie.
That is correct. And Erasmo, one thing I do wanna stress. Could you put Jeanette's comment up there? It's right above Alfredo Avalos. Jeanette has a comment. Saw my paycheck stub. No distant learning stipend. First of all, we hear about San Benito, a smaller school district compared to BISD. They gave out $500 with a 4% increase in pay. And again, the school district has been having a tumultuous couple of weeks. It seems like if they've done patas de ahogado right now, because everything that they do have been, haven't been treading water, well with the community. And to top it off, after all this, you have to justify your pay. You may be forced to come back to work. They kind of slap the teachers in the face and just offer them $100 stipend, which after taxes they'll be lucky if they get $60 or $70 from that. So when answering Jenna's question, when are these teachers going to get those $60, $70? We hear of the story. We hear the stories of these teachers, having to deal with assignments, grades, and some of them, are up at all hours. We've had teachers on this segment previously that have made comments on the threads and saying, hey, it's 9:30 and I'm barely finishing up, guys. So BISD administration leadership, take care of your teachers. Hey, we understand maybe there's not enough money, maybe there's not enough in the $600 million budget to help out these teachers, but come on, go ahead and try and expedite their stipend as soon as possible.
Hey, Jeanette, let me tell you something, Jeanette. The board in San Benito, they voted on, let's say, a Tuesday, for teachers to get that $500 and employees get that $500 stipend. Let me tell you, Jeanette, it was given to them 2 days later.
That's right.
2 days later.
In their bank account.
In their bank account, Jeanette. 2 days later, they received their stipend. Now, you tell me, we have an organization, a Fortune 500 organization, with a building full of accountants and CFOs that make twice as much as anyone out there in San Benito. How could they give their employees in 2 days their $500, and you, as a valued employee of the district, still haven't seen it and probably won't see it for a month, if that, guys? And Melinda, special service teachers did not qualify for any stipend. It's not sad. It's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face to anyone out there. Anyone out there? Chucky, Jason, it's a slap in the face to anyone out there that all employees did not get that benefit. All employees, give all employees a stipend. I mean, come on. It's not like you're going to give them the $500 from San Benito. $60, $100. Give them the $100. Give it to everyone. But you know what? Again, I think it's embarrassing for us as a district to have given teachers and certain teachers only $100. Am I completely wrong here?
You're wrong when you say 100. It could be more than that, right?
It could be more than that. Than that.
Should be.
Oh, it should be 100%.
Yeah, should be. I mean, $100 is ridiculous, man.
But again, 2 days, folks. In 2 days, they had their money. 2 days. Y nosotros nada. What else are we going to cover, Frankie?
In regards to Cameron County, if you could bring me up, Erasmo, very quickly. We had 2 additional deaths, guys, and this is the press release that was recently disseminated through social media. The Cameron County Public Health has received confirmation of 2 additional deaths in Cameron County. There's an 81-year-old female and a 92-year-old male from the Veranda Nursing Home in Harlingen. Both cases were previously reported. This raises the number of COVID-19 related deaths to 14 in Cameron County. Also today, there was 11 additional positives. A male, 68 from Brownsville, 24, 47 from Brownsville. There was 5 females from Harlingen, a male from Harlingen, and 2 from San Benito. That puts our total number at 344 cases in Cameron County, 14 deaths in Cameron County, and 19 deaths in the Rio Grande Valley, guys.
Thank you, Frankie. We'll go over the numbers. Carlos, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not sure Carlos is correct in reference to FMLA. I don't think necessarily have to have the virus in order to qualify for leave under Families First Coronavirus Response Act. I don't think you need to have closer look at the wording. I'll let you respond, or I'll let you give my take on it.
Let me respond real quick. You can take the leave regardless, but you're not going to get paid. Is what they were saying is that someone was telling them that, okay, if you go out and you take FMLA, right, that you will be covered. No, you're not going to get the pay that they're setting aside in case you attribute the COVID-19. But you can take FMLA,
yes, Chris,
for anybody with your family members. That's not the problem. What the problem here is that the school district is going to force the employee to take their local days or their sick days if they don't want to return to the school when the schools are closed, right? So they use their days up. Let's say 10. They use 10. They're gone. Well, then they do get sick. But they don't get sick because of the COVID-19. They get sick for anything. Pick a disease, a virus, whatever you want. Guess what? You're out of sick leave. The COVID-19 Act will not cover you because you're not sick for COVID-19. You're sick because of a migraine. You're sick because of the stomach flu. You're sick because whatever. That's what I said. But you can take the FMLA. Of course you can. You're just not going to get paid anymore.
I think that there's a lot of protection in regards to individuals, who are going to take FMLA because of the COVID-19. I think that's a very valid point. I think the only thing that's in question is in regards to how many of those days that you're going to be taking off are actually going to be paid days and unpaid days. Because if I'm understanding FMLA correctly, FMLA more than anything is to protect your employment. So in the time that you're taking FMLA, it's not a guarantee of, you're going to get paid all this time off. It's just that during the time that you're off, you're going to get so much money from it. And again, William, correct me if I'm wrong. You're going to get so much money and I know, because I've taken FMLA from my employers before. I get this amount of money off, and I have the option of taking off another so many weeks or so many months, but knowing that that time is not going to be paid, but my job is going to be protected. That's where the FMLA comes into play. And again, William, correct me or correct Carlos if you think it's wrong. But again, that's how I understand FMLA. That's how I've taken FMLA. What if they are waiting for May 4th to see who shows up to work, and those that don't won't get the massive $100? FMLA does not pay you. It just guarantees. Exactly. Thank you, John. That's how I understood FMLA. It doesn't necessarily pay you. It guarantees your job back within a certain time limit. Again, I think it's weeks, so many weeks or so many months. I'm not too sure. I don't know if it depends on the job or is it just again, I'm not sure. Short term, yeah. Short-term law disability pays you when on FMLA if you have it. Exactly. That's where I got my money. I got my money, I think, because of short-term disability because I had a surgery and they paid me so many days, which I didn't have to necessarily take from my PTO because I had that little benefit with my job. Then I took more days and I just didn't get paid for those days up to a year. Well, thanks. Up to a year. That's a lot of time. This paper is from the CDC. She's bringing it up. FMLA, you are correct. Thanks for the clarification. Oh, thank you, William. Woo! I finally got something right here. No. Again, that's the way I understood it. That's the way I've taken it. So again, Joe brought something up. Frankie, 9 more in Hidalgo, including an infant.
That is correct. I do see here 9 more positives. I don't see the infant. Let me see. But he is correct. Let me look into the infant. But there is 9 more positives in Hidalgo County, bringing their total to 290 for the county.
Guys, again, I don't see it slowing down much. Again, I don't see it. You get a lot right. Thank you. Again, I don't see it. I don't see it slowing down to the point where, you know what? Hey, let's start taking it easy. Carlos was asking me, Erasmo, who's the elites of Brownsville? Pues la raza con lana, the ones that are absolutely not suffering from this COVID, my man. My neighbor got their stimulus check in the mail today, but I didn't. Mailman said tomorrow more checks are coming in. And yes, guess who got a check from Papi Trump?
Thought you're a Mexican citizen.
Maybe. But I still got a check from Papi Trump right here, bros. And let me tell you, I took a picture of it. I'm saving the check. Of course, I already deposited the check through electronic depositing. I'm going to frame that check because it's got Papi Trump's name on it. Guys, this is history, guys. You may like the guy. You may not like the guy. The whole thing is history. It is history. Oh, Joe got it from KRGB News, Frankie. Again, this is history, man. I got my Papi Trump check. And let me tell you, and what my friend up here said, Peter said is very true. There are more checks coming in. They promised the checks after the 24th, so they started to come in early. So we should start seeing a raise of the checks. Now, what are the other things besides Papi Trump's checks? Guys, $484 billion were voted on today by the House of Representatives, and those passed, which are going to be voted on. The infant Hidalgo has been cleared because mom was negative. Thank you, Chris. Guys, the 480 only KISS principals are agreeing with Mr. Edinburgh. Principals will say something like, it really shows a lot about if you come to work. It would make me really happy to see you come to work. Or if you don't go, you're not being a team player. You don't care about students. You're in the wrong profession. The reason they're saying on a volunteer basis is because if a teacher gets sick, they're going to tell a teacher, well, you decided to come. We did it.
You volunteered.
You volunteered. And let me tell you, Rita is 100% correct. And you know why? Because we've heard it, guys. And you know what? Going back onto that topic, you know what really pisses me the most, Rita? Is those ass-kissing people. It really pisses me the most because, mira, okay, guys, very simple. If you are an individual that doesn't have children, you don't have children. So you could say, it's voluntary. I'll go work for my classroom. That's fine. And if you are out there, no, it's okay, they're great. No. Why would you say something like that when you know that your colleagues is in a different situation, folks? Your colleague can't leave their children at home. She's a single parent. She can't leave her child at home alone. She can't go back to the school. And then you go, well, that's why it's only voluntary. It's really not voluntary, folks. It really, 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 truly isn't. Don't be dumb. Don't be naive. It truly, really isn't. And like Rita said it perfectly. 100%. And that is what happens, guys. That is what happens. So what I'm trying to say is, guys, be team players. Be considerate of your colleagues that don't have the same opportunities that you have, where you can sit your ass in the classroom and work on whatever you want to work. Be considerate and say, no, you know what? We don't want to do this because we are solidarity. We're going to be together with my colleagues, my other fellow teachers out there, guys. I mean, goodness gracious, if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it, folks. Now going back into the stimulus, 484 billion, guys. So again, starting tomorrow, please do the PPPs and the SBAs. If you have any issues in regards to filing it, please contact Michael Rodriguez. Michael Rodriguez, we will help. Here he goes. John said that his brother got over $40,000 for his restaurant. Again, guys, every single small business here should apply, no matter what amount. No matter what amount. Do you know when would church services go back to normal in person? I'm going to get into trouble for this, but according to the governor mandate, people can worship at church. According to the governor's mandate. And I did submit the request to the county judge. County judge was going to review it with the judge. So I appreciate that. But according to the governor's mandate, churches can worship. It is part of their First Amendment right. It cannot be taken away from them. Again, just Jesus, Becky, nothing is voluntary at BISD. Exactly right. Exactly. Not everyone has the luxury to leave your children at home alone or risking them at work. Exactly. You're a volunteer or you are not a team player. Guys, I'm not making this stuff up, bros. Anybody thinks that I'm making this stuff up? What happened to the proposal for getting $2,000 a month for 6 months? That has not passed yet. That is still in discussion. It has been proposed by the House of Representatives. I would be a very happy cheese man if I got $2,000 a month for the next 6 months. I'll tell you that much right now. I don't think it's going to happen. But again, I could dream. I never thought that the $1,200 was going to happen from Papi Trump. And let me tell you, Papi Trump came through. So I'm happy. Totalitarian at BISD. And unfortunately, it's very, very true. And that is what has to change. As a Pastafarian, all we need is a calendar, not a building. I'm trying to decipher that right. It might be too late. Seems like everyone is letting their guard down. No line at Sam's or HEB in Harlingen. It was packed. Everyone, and again, very true. And again, we are not out of it, folks. We are not out. The board continues to state you all are spreading lies. As per Philip, flip-flopping Philip. Let me tell you, very simple, Al. Challenge to Philip. Come on. Tell us what lies we've been saying. Challenge. Philip. I'll text him. You want me to text him right now? I'll text him. Philip, we want you to come on the show. Is that what everyone wants me to do? Philip, we want you to come on the show. Do I text him?
Oh.
No? Why not?
I'm sure
They're watching anyways.
Well, let's send him a text. Bleep, 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 bleep. Philip, watch me text. Hey. Oh, Christy says no. Why? Philip, come on, Philip. Come on to the show and come. Come on out and say and clarify what are the lies that we're saying. Come tell us what lies we are saying. Not going to do it. Does anybody think this is going to? Huh?
You need to take a poll.
The poll that he's more worried about is November poll, and November poll is going to be very, very telling.
People saying no, then don't do it.
Isn't Philip a lawyer? Can't he use his own legal knowledge to change things on the board to speak up? Let me tell you, poor Philip is scared to death of the women on there. He's scared to death. Was scared to death of Sylvia Atkinson. Bowed down to Sylvia Atkinson. Scared to death of Drew. I mean, Drew scares the bejesus out of him. The bejesus out of him. Scares him to death. And I mean, I can see why. You know, very scary person. But again, I fear no one. No one. No man do I fear. Ad hominem. No es pozole, Roger. I know what you're talking about. Linda Espinosa, you around sick people. I didn't see Linda's comment. Oh, how safe can you be to go to a doctor's appointment? I don't know. Everything you guys have said has come to pass. Everything. And again, guys, flip-flopping Philip, come on. An open invitation. Send me a message. Let me know. I'll bring you on anytime at 9 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock at night. And, you know, you tell us your side of the story. I mean, it's the first time any board member would ever want to say anything or come out and say anything. Very, very simple. Again, yo no tengo pelos en la lengua. Come on over. Little Eddie, open invitation. This time for real. Come on over to the show. Come on in over. Minerva can't structure a sentence to save her life, so forget about that. Ad hominem, destroy the messenger, ignore the message. Frankie, what else are we seeing today?
Guys, have a good night. Just to remind y'all, tomorrow, if you guys are gonna support local business, if you guys aren't gonna be cooking at home, the food court is gonna be opening up curbside Friday, April 24th, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Support local business, and special shout out goes out to our friends at the Sunglass Forum, the Rodriguez family. So support local business, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
The food court is opening up.
Curbside.
The mall?
Correct.
Oh, awesome. That's great news. I don't know if a lot of people are going to be stopping by, but it's going to be kind of good. Remember, in the Learning Nice BISD, had to pay volunteer hours as per wage hours? No. Rita is absolutely correct. The word volunteer is BISD's out. When it comes down to liability, when an employee gets the virus, 100%, guys. 100%. They do not want the risk of having someone get infected at one of the campuses and then come back and there's a curbside Facebook page. Awesome. Let's break it out. Send us a link. Thanks for the stream. Guys, got those last words.
Hey, stay safe out there. Thanks for the show. Thanks, Frankie.
Guys, have a great evening. Again, go out there, support local business, support our restaurants. Do as much as you can. Guys, thank you for coming on to YouTube. If y'all have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go on there, subscribe. Please. We're almost there. We're very close. We've already surpassed 450. And we just need to get to that 1,000 mark, and we'll be able to live stream from our phone. Guys, I appreciate y'all's patience. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for being here. Stay safe. Stay at home. We can afford to open up as quickly as a lot of people want to. Let's open up. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have a little bit more information in regards to the graduation, but it's already in the works, so we should be knowing for the next few days. God bless, take care. And hasta mañana tomorrow, 9 o'clock in the morning.
We need to bring hope back. Remember, hope is what we need.
Bring hope back.